Hey, my brothers, my sisters, welcome. I'm TSpeaks, and this is your session. Your, motivation, your word, your insight, your inspiration. This is Daddy Talk. Just want to talk to my brothers for a brief moment and allow my sisters to really listen in. The reason why we have started and we continue to do this Daddy Talk is because I understand that fathers have a bad way sometimes. They catch a bad rap. Some of it, I'm not saying that all fathers are good fathers. I'm not saying that all fathers are doing what they're supposed to do. But there are a select few. Matter of fact, there's quite a few that are doing the right thing, doing all that they can, and still they're catching a bad rap. They're literally allowing the situations to sometimes dictate their actions. They're listening to the words of others, and they're kind of being motivated really by just what they see as opposed to what they hear inside. Fathers, I want to ask and I want to pose a question to you as we now start to approach the end of 2019. And I'm going to be doing a lot of reflection myself, as I have been doing, but I'm also going to give some insight and revelation to some of you, to all of those that will tune in, as to what type of things transpired in my life this year. But I want to ask you a question, my brothers. Those that are fathers, those that are daddies, those that have made children, those, those that desire to do better than what you have had, those that have desire to do better than what you've done in the past, those that have desired to be more than what you have received in the past. My question is this: what are you going to do differently in 2020 that you did not do in 2019, which will propel you, which will push you, which will draw you and get you closer to your destiny, to your goals? How are you, in other words, going to be a better father than what you were in 2019? You see, the reason why I'm asking this question is, if you don't have goals, you really aren't pushing toward anything. You're kind of moving with the wind. If you don't have a charted course and a strategy of how to get there, how to accomplish your goals, what you're doing is pretty much letting circumstances dictate your actions. And most of the time, you'll become reactive instead of proactive. Let me say that again. If you just sit there and you wait and you kind of, I'm just getting by, doing what I'm supposed to do, doing the best that I can, and you don't have a clear way of getting to where you want to be, which means you have to have a goal. 2, you have to have a plan. 3, you have to initiate that plan. In other words, take actions, take steps. I know you may have been criticized. You may have, in fact, been ostracized by the way that you've taken steps in the past. Maybe they're a side-by-side, bilateral movement as opposed to going forward. Maybe they were itsy-bitsy baby steps as opposed to big, giant leaps. I'm not so concerned with the stride that you take. I'm concerned right now that you literally have something in mind, somewhere you want to go, a destination you want to reach. I don't care. Hey, you know what? My goal for the 2020 is to become an entrepreneur. My goal for 2020 is to get a solid relationship with my child. My goal for 2020 is to, in fact, get a roof over my head. My goal for 2020 is to be there for my child more, to sit down and do homework more. My goal is to get a relationship, to forge my way into a relationship, to start calling or to initiate calls. Or to literally, my goal is to get my child more from their mother. Whatever it is, my goal is to go see what my child is doing in school. You have to have a goal. And here's the thing I wanted to impress upon you. If you are not doing something first to better yourself, how can you possibly expect to better your child? So my brother, this time around, I don't care too much about what you did in 2019, because why? Because for the most part, within the next couple of days, it will be behind you forever. What I am concerned with is forward. What are you going to do going forward? What things are you going to do different? What things are you going to cut away from you? What people are you going to separate from? What naysayers are you going to stop listening to? One of my goals is, in fact, to put somebody very, very close to me, or no, close to my kids, on mute, their mother. is to not listen to anything that she is saying, because she, in fact, this year moved me off of my axis a little too much. Her words got beneath my armor, and although 99.9% of them were not true, she still did what she did to prick me, to pry me, to get me to move, to get me to respond. All of that because I believe there's anger, there's hostility, for the simple fact I would not continue walking with her. So one of my goals is to mute her. My brother, what is and what are your goals for 2020? I've got a plethora of them, and they're not all dealing with a person. The majority of them are dealing with me. But you've got to have a goal. How can you benefit your child if you don't have a goal for you first? And then you can start to explain, start to illustrate by example to your child. This is the lesson. I'm going to stay on this a little bit more. I'll be back to talk about it. Tune in for part 2. What are you going to do new for 2020? I'm TSpeaks family, and this is Daddy Talk.